Breaking up and coming undone. It's a roller coaster kind of rush. That is literally BJ and Magnolia. Tell me I'm wrong. You can't. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be filming a fun video. I would say this is my second video I've posted on this channel that isn't a reading wrap-up or a monthly reading wrap-up. Today's video is going to be me recommending books to you based on Taylor Swift songs. I've seen a couple people do this before on YouTube. I don't know who's the first person to come up with it, but I know Steph Bohr made a video like this, so credits to her. I'm sure you know who she is. She's like the queen of booktube. Anyways, I have around 8 books I'm gonna recommend to you and then a song for each book that I think correlates with the book and like the storyline. I'm gonna try to do my best to explain why I think this song matches this book or represents this book. If you know me, you know I love Taylor Swift and music in general, and then I also love reading, so I thought this would be fun to film. Obviously, if you don't like Taylor Swift, you might not understand why I'm recommending the song for this book, but I still think you should watch because you might be able to find a new book you want to read. So let's get into the video. The first book I'm gonna show you, recommending to you based on a Taylor Swift song, is After I Do by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and the song I chose for this book is I Almost Do by Taylor Swift. Obviously. The reason I chose I Almost Do by Taylor Swift is because this book is about a romance that's going through it. Right off the bat, find out that this romance is about a married couple that basically has fallen out of love with each other. They decide to split up for a couple months, date other people, and then they're gonna basically come back together and see if they want to work through their marriage or if they want to call it quits. So the song I Almost Do really reminds me of this book because the song is about like reminiscing on a romance and really wanting to fix it, hoping that it'll work out in the end. I think that's all I'm gonna say. I want to keep these kind of short. This is not like a fun, happy romance. It's very realistic. It shows the hardships within a relationship, but I absolutely love this book. And I feel like this is one of her underrated books. So I really recommend this. Now, the next book I'm going to recommend is Colty. The Taylor Swift song I associate with Colty is Gold Rush, which is off of Evermore, and that is probably one of my favorite songs on that album. Anyways, basically I chose that song because this book is about a soccer player. She's a professional soccer player and her team gets a new coach. No one really knows who the coach is going to be, and once he shows up they all find out that it's this guy named Colty, and he's like one of the most known soccer players of all time, and he's kind of retired now. But yeah, basically he's a very famous soccer player and everyone is kind of starstruck by him. You get Sal's point of view and you find out that she grew up like idolizing Colty, the soccer player, who becomes her coach. He was actually one of the reasons she pursued soccer as a career, and her whole family like loves him. The reason I chose that song for this book because I feel like Gold Rush is essentially about like a famous person almost, and like admiring that person and everyone wanting that person and wondering what he's like. I feel like there's an aspect of like jealousy within that song and within this book. Everyone feels like Colty kind of favorites Sal because they form a relationship. So I feel like in that song there's also an aspect of jealousy and like everyone wanting that person. This is one of my favorite romance books. It's a slow burn. It's done so well. The next book I'm going to show is another Taylor Jenkins Reid book. This is Malibu Rising. The song I chose that I think represents this book really well is You're on Your Own Kid, which is off of Midnights. This book is about family that's very well known. The parents of the family were famous and rich. Their parents go through hardships and kind of like a divorce and all that. So basically I feel like this book is a lot about the relationships between the siblings and how they kind of grew up on their own and having to take care of themselves, specifically Nina, which is the main like sibling you're getting perspective from. She kind of had to raise her siblings and like figure out everything on her own because of the situation that happens with her parent. And I feel like that song is the epitome of this book because it's about like growing up and kind of finding out who you are and what you want as a person. She was basically like her own parent in a way, and she kind of took care of her siblings. This book was so good. It was almost like nothing I've ever read before, and I feel like I learned a lot about myself after reading this. And also I feel like Nina, the main sibling, she finds it hard to find love and kind of feels like she's on her own and all her other siblings are kind of out doing things and she's just kind of stuck with stuff happening in her life and she feels like she's not progressing. So that's another reason why I feel like it matches this song really well and the lyrics within the song. The next book I'm going to talk about is Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings, and then also I have the kind of second, so this is actually the third book in this series, but it's the sequel to this Magnolia Parks book because the second book in this series is kind of focuses more on Daisy Hate's story, which is a completely different girl. But anyways, so we have Magnolia Parks and Magnolia Parks The Long Way Home. The song I chose for this is The Way I Loved You off of Fearless. The reason I chose that song is because there is so much drama and back and forth and betrayal between Magnolia and BJ, the romance in this book. They're constantly fighting, they're constantly going back to one another after stuff happens and then breaking up. I feel like this song is the epitome of their relationship. So yeah, this is not your typical romance. You know what this reminds me? You know what I was thinking? Like a lot of people don't like this romance, but I feel like all the people that read after the fan fiction, which turned into real books and there's movies on that. Anyways, I feel like the people that enjoyed after like are people that enjoy this. Because I read after when it was on Wattpad and I remember I just like really liked it at the time. What I'm saying is that after was very drama filled and like back and forth. A lot of betrayal happened within the relationship in after, and I feel like that's kind of similar to this relationship. So I feel like if you like reading about relationships like that and like drama and not your perfect relationship, you will enjoy the series. But yeah, that's why I chose this song, because their relationship is kind of a mess, but they love each other so much and they'll always find their way back to one another. The next book I'm going to talk about is Happy Place. And I know a lot of people have already read this and most people that have read it have loved it. So I'm not going to say too much because I'm sure you've heard a lot of people already talk about this. But the song I chose, two songs for this book. So the first song I chose is Peace, which I feel like represents the romance in this book. And then I chose the song August because I feel like that just really represents the book in general, and then also the friendships within this book and like the setting of the book. So Harriet is the girl in this book and it's about her friend group that she meets in college, and they always go to this lake house every summer. And it's about her relationship with Win, and she meets Win through her friends. The reason I chose August, I hate the word vibes, but like that song to me is just like very summery, and the main part of this book is this friend group always going to this summer house. So that is why I chose that song. And I feel like they always they look forward to this part of the year, going to the summer home so much. So yeah, that's why I feel like it relates to the song August. August slipped away. I feel like that lyric relates to the time they spend at the summer home. Like they look forward to it so much and it goes by so quickly, but they're always having so much fun. On to the next song, we have Peace. I feel like this song represents Win and Harriet's relationship so well. The song is probably one of my favorite songs on Folklore. It's just so beautiful, but also heartbreaking, and I feel like that's exactly how Win and Harriet's relationship is. One of the lyrics is, "Would it be enough if I could never give you peace?" So I feel like a big part of Win and Harriet's relationship, like the struggles they face, is not feeling like they're good enough for one another. I feel like that lyric is exactly that. And then also, like, that song is just really about like a strong bond people share, and I would die for you in secret. Like, I believe they'd die for each other. I'm a fire and I'll keep you real hot. The song Peace like kind of shows a changing view on a romance. So I feel like Win and Harriet had like such an amazing romance, and how their romance came to be was so amazing, and then they suddenly just call it quits, and they kind of look back on their relationship and try to figure out what went wrong. And I feel like that's exactly what Peace is about. Literally such a good book. I think about it every fucking day. If you like those two songs, you should read this book. Even if you don't like those songs, you should read this book because it's so good. It's not just a romance, it's way deeper than that. I feel like I learned a lot about myself, and I just like really resonated with the characters in this book. Next book I'm gonna recommend is 7 Days in June by Tia Williams, and the song I feel like represents this book is Invisible String, which is another song off Folklore. So Eva and Shane went to school together, and they spent like 7 days together in high school. Instantly felt a connection and basically never see each other again after those 7 days. So much time goes by. They're adults now, and they're both authors, and they run into each other at a author event. It's Second Chance, Invisible String. I feel like it talks about being connected to someone, even though like no matter how much time has gone by, they always will have that connection because it's just so strong. And I feel like that's the epitome of Shane and Eva's relationship. There is a dual timeline in this book, which I really thought made the plot really strong, and it allowed you to get to know the characters on a deeper level. Another thing, their trauma is something they bond over and relate to, which is another reason why I thought this song was perfect. So yeah, Invisible String basically is like a red thread of fate that ties two soulmates together, and I truly believe that Eva and Shane are soulmates. This is like one of the few romance books I've read that made me believe in soulmates. If you like that song, read this book. The next book I'm gonna recommend is Before We Were Strangers by Renee Carlino. The song I chose for this is Cardigan off of Folklore. This book is about two college students. They immediately form a friendship and have a connection, and you get two different timelines. So you get when they meet at college and how they initially form a friendship which turns into a relationship, and then you get the present timeline where they haven't spoken in years, kind of similar to the book I was just talking about. So much time has gone by, so I feel like Invisible String could work for this book as well, but let me get into why I think Cardigan works for this song. So I feel like they were both each other's like first loves. 15 years has gone by. Dancing cars and downtown bars. Stepping on the last train marked me like a blood stain. Okay, that's crazy because 15 years go by and he runs into her at a train station, and he's like, no fucking way, I just ran into her. He wants to reconnect with her, and they end up reconnecting. I guess the song Cardigan, I feel like really is the epitome of the past timeline you get from this book when they initially fall in love, and then it being like their first experience really loving someone and their first like real relationship, and that person just making a huge impact on your life. Yeah, that's why I chose Cardigan. I feel like that's what that song is about. And then I also feel like Invisible String could work for this book as well. But I also chose, so the next book I'm going to talk about, I chose two songs for this. We have Cardigan, and then we have The One, because I feel like The One off of Folklore represents the present point of view you get from this book, because it's kind of like the one that got away, trying to figure out where they went wrong and why they lost contact with each other. Overall, this is a really good book. Also made me believe in soulmates. Second Chance. I usually don't like Second Chance, but these two books are done very well and are probably two of my favorite Second Chance romance books. The last and final book I'm going to talk about is One Tree Loves by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This is the third Taylor Jenkins Reid book I've talked about in this video, but the song I chose for this book is The One off of Folklore, because that song is about basically the one that got away. So Emma and Jesse are a married couple. One day something happens to Jesse. I read this a really long time ago, but I still think about this book a lot. He goes missing or something. He gets lost at sea. A couple days go by, so they pronounce him dead. And I believe like a year or so goes by, and she clearly moves on, and she reconnects with the guy she went to school with, and she's in a new relationship now. I wouldn't say she ever finished grieving her husband. She kind of moved on a little fast. But she gets a call, and her husband never died. They found him alive. So he comes back into her life, and it's such a sticky situation because she's moved on and she has a new man. So it's about, I wouldn't say she's choosing between the two, but she's kind of trying to find out what she wants. Like, does she want to get back with her husband, or it has too much time gone by and does she want to stay with the guy she's with now? So that's why I chose this song, because I feel like it relates to both of her relationships. It would have been fun if you would have been the one. Like, the guy she is dating in the present time right now, she like knew prior. So I feel like she's probably thought about him in the past, their past relationship, and she's rekindling that. But then also she has her husband that she was literally married to. He was the one at one point. So like, you see what I'm saying. So that is the final book I'm recommending to you based on a Taylor Swift song. I hope I did an okay job at explaining, but I feel like if you listen to Taylor Swift, you'll probably just understand why I recommended this book for that song. Let me know in the comments what your favorite Taylor Swift song is, because I'd love to know. And I love Taylor Swift. My favorite album is Folklore, if we're talking about like new albums. And then I would say my favorite throwback album is probably Fearless or Speak Now. I don't know if I can pick. And one of my favorite songs is Dear John. You didn't ask, but I told you. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked this video. It's kind of different. So if you liked this, let me know. Maybe I'll do another video like this. Maybe I'll do it with a different artist, like maybe Harry Styles, because I love it. Or maybe it doesn't have to be like just this artist. I could just do this song, like a bunch of different songs. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in my next video, which will be my July reading wrap up. I hope you're doing well, and I hope you have a good day or night. Bye. Stream Speak Now, Taylor's version.